Hey gang, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really missing the little high fives and pounds and hugs and handshakes and baseball. It's April, there's no baseball. For the first time ever, there is crying in baseball. Just a couple things to think about as we find ourselves here in this moment, and we're trying to find ways to connect, to communicate, to pastor, to minister to our kids, to our families. Two values that I want to throw at you that will help you guide your decision making during these days. Here's the first one: connection over content. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of a content guy. I love to create curriculums and resources. I love that whole creative process. I love to share them with my kids. I love to watch kids react to the things I've created and engage with them in that way. More important than getting caught up in all the time of creating things and putting stuff together, I need to make sure that I'm focusing my time these days on connecting with kids. Phone calls, old school, calling our kids. It's so funny to call kids because you'll call and say, "This is Pastor Steve. I'm calling for Tim." And usually the parent answers, right? And then Tim gets on the phone, and here's what Tim will say: "Uh-huh, yeah." And you got to work so hard to get a conversation going. Kids are just not big on phone calls. But calling is important, and it really helps connect. Facebook Live is a great tool to connect with your kids. Here's a little tip. When you do Facebook Live or anything like that, make sure you send a text out to everybody about 30 minutes before you go live. That will make all the difference in the participation. Facebook Live is a great tool. A lot of you guys are doing Zoom parties. I have yet to do one of those. I'm going to do one of those soon. Anything that you can do to connect and get connection happening is a big deal. Connection over content. What you do in Facebook Live and your phone calls and your Zoom time is, it's you got to do something, right? But it's more important that you connect, okay? And the second value is participation over perfection. And oh my goodness, I don't know about you guys, if you've been watching what's been going on online these days, a lot of imperfection. I mean, it's very entertaining, to say the least. You may have caught this church in Marietta, Georgia, the tree attacked the drummer.
Flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Your presence in this place, your glory on our face, we're looking to the sky. Descending like a cloud, you're standing with us now.
Isn't that great? And so then the next week he came back prepared. Okay, so a little connection, a little point of connection. That's a church in Marietta, Georgia that actually started back in the 1950s. My dad was the first pastor of that church. So hey, I got a connection point there, especially funny to me. The idea is participation over perfection, because what we're going to do is not going to be perfect, but it does not matter. It's kind of the good enough principle. And we should just value that participation. So we got to work really hard to get people to participate. So you got to communicate, you got to get out in front of the communication so that they are participating. So let those two values guide your decision making. They're really helping me. Participation over perfection and connection over content. And one final thought here. This is an unprecedented time in our world, and specifically for the church, we are being forced out of the building. We've got to think outside of the building, outside of the box. And we're getting creative. And God is helping us. At the same time, I think that in many ways, what we're doing is what we should always be about. And that is equipping the saints. We're finding ways to help our people disciple others. And for those of us working in kids ministries, it's that much more important for us to find ways to help our parents, as they are the spiritual leaders of their kids, the spiritual leaders in their homes. Many of us are doing children's church programs online, and that's good. But the most important thing we can do is to help our parents. The resource I put together, Faith Kids at Home, that's the goal. It's just something that parents and kids can watch together, and it helps parents to be the spiritual leaders. I've been trying to shift my thinking that direction. I want to do things where I get to engage with the kids, but at the same time, I want to help the parents in their mission to be the spiritual leaders of their kids. Well, some stuff to think about. Hopefully that helps you guys. And I look forward to the next time we connect. And we're going to connect. I'm going to close this out right now. There we go. We're out of here. Oh, come on up. That was a strike. That was a strike. Good. There's nobody there. No baseball.